In a world where survival demands more than courage, can a single relic shift the balance between peace and annihilation? Liam sprinted, legs burning, gripping Rilke's small hand tightly as they tore through the forest. The thick underbrush clawed at him, and alien wildlife screeched, scattering as they barreled forward. Behind them, the distant sounds of Guardian's battle with the relentless Kavari echoed. Each step pushed them deeper into the wilderness, but Liam didn't dare look back. His focus was singular: keep Rilke safe, no matter the cost. Their enemies weren't just hunters. The Kavari were relentless, methodical, born to track and conquer. Even if Guardian somehow held off the initial assault, Liam knew reinforcements would come, stronger, faster, undeterred. This wasn't just a chase, it was a hunt. But what did they want from her, a child frozen in stasis for centuries? Finally reaching a clearing, Liam skidded to a halt, gasping for air. Rilke collapsed beside him, chest heaving, her lavender eyes wide with fear. "They won't stop," she whispered, voice trembling. "They'll find us. It doesn't matter how far we run." Liam knelt beside her, heart pounding as he searched for a solution. "We'll find a place to hide. Somewhere they'd never expect." Rilke shook her head, defeated. "The Kavari, they're trained for this, Liam. They won't rest until they have me. My parents warned me. If they ever found me—" Her voice broke, and Liam felt a pang in his chest. He suspected Rilke was special, but this? She was the last of her kind. Kneeling beside her, he placed a reassuring hand on her shoulder. "They won't take you," he said, his tone firm, though the words felt hollow against the threat they faced. But how could they fight back against such odds? His gaze drifted back to the forest edge, to where Guardian was still locked in combat. The alien leopard wasn't just a beast. There was intelligence in its eyes, a purpose beyond mere protection. His mind raced. Guardian bore a collar inscribed with ancient symbols, technology unlike any Liam had ever seen. Could it be more than just a bodyguard? Could it hold a way to even the odds? "Rilke," he said, a sudden idea sparking, "does Guardian have any link to your people's technology?" Rilke blinked, startled. "Guardian was created to protect me. It's part of our ancient defense system. But I don't know how it works." Liam's heart hammered. If Guardian was tied to her people's defenses, it might be their only shot. Could it lead us to something left by your people? Something powerful enough to stop the Kavari? Rilke's gaze wavered, drifting toward the dark trees. "I don't know," she whispered, "but Guardian has always known where to go. Maybe it knows something we don't." That was all Liam needed. He stood, helping Rilke to her feet. "Then we need to get back to Guardian. If there's something it can do to help, we have to find out." Together, they turned back toward the sounds of combat. Guardian was still there, battling two Kavari soldiers with primal ferocity. Energy blasts lit up the clearing, and one grazed Guardian's side, eliciting a fierce roar. "Guardian!" Rilke called, her voice breaking. She darted forward, and Liam followed, heart pounding. But the Kavari soldiers had spotted them. Liam fired his energy pistol, but his shot merely staggered the soldier. Conventional weapons weren't enough against their armor. Just then, Guardian, despite its injuries, lunged and took down a soldier with a swipe of its massive paw. The creature's glowing green eyes flicked toward Liam and Rilke. "Guardian!" Liam called. "We need your help. There has to be anything that can stop them." Guardian's gaze shifted to the forest, urging them to follow. Without hesitation, they ran, ducking blasts from the remaining soldiers. The Kavari were relentless, and time was running out. But Guardian led them swiftly through the dense trees. Finally, they emerged in a hidden clearing. In its center stood an ancient stone structure, its surface covered in the same glowing symbols as Guardian's collar. Liam's heart raced. Was this the answer they needed? Guardian halted before the entrance, and, as Rilke approached, the symbols flared to life. The stone shifted, revealing a dark chamber within. Together, they entered, the air thick with a dormant energy. In the chamber's center sat a small, glowing orb, casting an ethereal glow across the room. Rilke's eyes widened. This is what they're after." A crash sounded outside. The Kavari had found them. Liam gripped her shoulder. "Rilke, can you use it? Can you stop them?" She hesitated. I've never been trained." "You're stronger than you think," Liam said firmly. "Your people entrusted this to you." With trembling hands, Rilke touched the orb, and light began to pulse, illuminating the symbols on the walls. Ancient power hummed to life around them as Rilke drew strength from within, her lavender skin glowing in the orb's light. Outside, the Kavari's footsteps grew louder. Liam's pulse quickened as the light within the chamber flared, and Rilke's eyes opened, glowing with the same otherworldly brilliance. In that moment, she held the power of her people, and they were ready for the fight to come. In a race against time, the ancient power has awakened, but at what cost? As Guardian and Rilke step into their final stand, will their sacrifice be enough to silence the relentless Kavari once and for all? Through the swirling energy, something in the room shifted. Guardian, who had been standing silently at the entrance, was now bathed in the same intense light as Rilke. The symbols on its collar, which once appeared as mere decoration, had come alive, glowing and moving in rhythm with the pulse of the orb. The creature's eyes glowed fiercely, and it seemed to grow, becoming more imposing than ever. It was no longer just a protector. It was something far more powerful. What is this?" Liam whispered, his voice barely audible over the hum of energy filling the chamber. Rilke turned to him, awe and fear mingling in her expression. "It's the legacy of my people," she said softly, her voice carrying an ethereal echo. "This is the power the Kavari feared, the power they tried to erase. But it's still here, inside me." Liam's mind raced, realizing the significance of what they had awakened. But before he could say anything more, a sudden explosion shook the entrance, and Kavari soldiers burst through, their weapons ready. Liam reacted instantly. "Rilke, get down!" he shouted, pulling her behind the pedestal as energy blasts ripped through the air. But Guardian was faster. With a ferocious roar, the alien leopard lunged, moving with newfound strength and speed, far beyond anything it had shown before. Claws aglow with ancient power, Guardian tore through the soldiers, whose armor proved useless against the creature's primal fury. Liam watched in stunned silence as Guardian dispatched the last of the soldiers, leaving the battlefield eerily silent. As the dust settled, Rilke stepped forward, her glowing eyes fixed on the scene. Her voice, filled with sorrow and determination, broke the silence. "They won't stop," she murmured. "The Kavari will send more. Now that they know I'm here, they'll come back with everything they have." Liam's fists clenched. She was right. This was only the beginning, and the Kavari would never stop until they captured her and claimed the power she held. Desperation edged his voice. "Is there anything else your people left behind? A weapon that could stop them for good?" Rilke hesitated, casting a glance back at the orb. "There's one last failsafe," she said softly. "A final option, but it's dangerous." Liam's pulse quickened. "What is it?" She stepped toward the pedestal, her fingers grazing the orb's surface. "My people built this as a last resort. If I activate it, it will destroy the Kavari fleet orbiting the planet, but it will also destroy everything connected to the orb, including Guardian, and me." Liam's heart plummeted. "No, there has to be another way." Rilke shook her head, her eyes tinged with sadness. "This is the only way to make sure they never come back. As long as I'm here, they'll keep hunting. But if the orb is gone, if I'm gone, they'll have no reason to fight." A crushing weight settled over him. He had come this far to save her, to protect her from the Kavari. He couldn't let her sacrifice herself now. "No. We can fight them together, you and Guardian. There's still hope." Her glowing eyes softened as she reached out, placing a gentle hand on his arm. "You've done more for me than anyone ever has," she whispered. "But my people created this power to protect, not to destroy. This is the only way to preserve our legacy." Liam's throat tightened, his words caught in a painful silence. Deep down, he knew she was right, but accepting it was a different matter. The Kavari wouldn't stop. They would continue their path of destruction until nothing remained. I can't let you do this," he finally managed, his voice breaking. Rilke offered him a sad smile. "I have to." Guardian stepped forward, its glowing eyes locked onto Rilke, a quiet understanding passing between them. The creature's massive form lowered, and it nuzzled against her one last time. She rested her hand on its sleek fur, a moment of silent farewell passing between them. "I'm ready," she whispered, her voice barely audible. Liam's heart ached as he watched Rilke and Guardian approach the orb, the symbols on the walls pulsing brighter with every step. The energy in the room rose to a crescendo, vibrating the walls with an almost unbearable tension. He wanted to stop her, to pull her away from the pedestal, but he knew it was too late. With a final, trembling breath, Rilke placed her hands on the orb, and the room erupted in blinding light. The walls shook as the ancient technology activated, sending a shockwave through the chamber. Liam stumbled back, shielding his eyes as the raw power tore through the air, shaking the very ground beneath him. Then, in an instant, it was over. The light faded, and silence filled the chamber. Liam blinked, his vision adjusting to the dimness. The orb was gone, the pedestal was empty, and Rilke and Guardian were nowhere to be seen. The once glowing symbols on the walls had gone dark, the ancient power extinguished. For a long moment, Liam stood alone, his heart heavy with grief. Rilke had sacrificed everything to stop the Kavari, not just for her people but for all who would have suffered under their tyranny. Tears blurred his vision as he stared at the empty pedestal. He had arrived on this planet a simple engineer, but he was leaving with the weight of a young girl's sacrifice on his shoulders. The Kavari fleet was gone, neutralized in her final act of defiance, but the cost had been immeasurable. Taking a deep breath, Liam turned and walked out of the ancient chamber. The cool night air washed over him as he stepped into the clearing, the stars above shining brightly in the absence of the Kavari ships. Yet, despite the beauty of the night, it felt hollow. This is the image I need. Same image for my YouTube video. Generate 5 variants of images, so I have multiple options to choose the best one.